Welcome to episode 3 of the Dallas Sports Pod. My name is Sammy HT, and what a night that was last night. I mean, oh my goodness. There's a lot to talk about this week, but there's also plenty to talk about from just last night. Happy 2026. It's pretty incredible that we're already here. This year I got big goals for this channel, and I'm hoping to reach them. I don't plan on slowing down. Safe to say, I think 2026 is a pretty big year, and I hope to you it is also a pretty big year. Now, obviously a lot has happened this week, as I already mentioned, but I think it's best that we start with what happened last night. As the clock struck midnight, that was not the only thing that was striking midnight. Ohio State's season also struck midnight. That was corny, I know. I don't want to hear it. Miami, the University of Miami, 20 plus years of sorrow, 20 plus years of mediocrity. A team that couldn't get it together, that was reaching back to the glory days. And everybody was always asking throughout this 20-year period, is the U going to be back? Is the U back? Is the U back? The U is never going to be back. The U is here. We are here. And Miami proved it last night. Miami redeems their win from 20 plus years ago. And let me tell you, man, that last night's performance from the Canes is nothing short of inspirational. I want to start with the obvious. The line of scrimmage. I mean, what else needs to be said about Ruben Bain and Akeem Mesidor and Ahmad Moten, Justin Scott? Like, what else needs to be said? Marquise Lightfoot. What else needs to be said about these guys that hasn't already been said? Right? Like, what else needs to be said? Miami dominated the line of scrimmage on both sides, not just the defensive side, but especially on the defensive side. 5 sacks for the Canes. 22 total pressures. Akeem Mesidor and Ruben Bain together applied for 11 of those pressures and 3 of those sacks. Just an incredible performance from the 2 best pass rushers in the country. Ruben Bain, man. I mean, who else can touch him in terms of him being the best player in the country? Who else? I know there was a lot of talk about Caleb Downs. A lot of talk about Arvell Reese, and some people might say Jacob Rodriguez, and I wouldn't be mad at those picks, but Ruben Bain is a game wrecker. Ruben Bain is an absolute game wrecker, man. And there was a lot of talk about how OSU's offensive line against Indiana got a bit exposed, and the thought process behind most of the Canes fandom was, well, we have a better pass rush than Indiana. And you'd be right. We do. But the question was always, can we execute? Can we get to Julian Sayin on time? Can we get to Julian Sayin on time? And then offensively, can we execute enough to win the game? And the answer to both of those questions was, heck yes. It happened. And it happened with flying colors. Miami's offensive line only allowed, I believe, 2 sacks and 13 pressures. 153 rushing yards. Shout out to Mark Fletcher. Shout out to Tramar Brown. I mean, and shout out to Carson Beck rushing the ball. Look, 7 carries for 23 yards isn't a lot. Okay, it's not. But let me tell you, when those runs happened, it couldn't have been more crucial. Could not have been more crucial, let me tell you. It was some of the most important running Carson Beck has done in his career. He is not known to be running the ball. He doesn't run a lot at all, Carson Beck did. And yet, he ran for multiple first downs in this game, and he performed exceptionally well. He also passed for 138 yards and a touchdown. Nothing flashy. Nothing crazy. But when your defense is playing that well, you don't need to be anything crazy. He did the exact same thing against Texas A&M. With the exception is he actually scored 2 touchdowns. There was 2 touchdowns in this game and not 1. The other touchdown was a defensive touchdown from Keontae Scott, who, by the way, has come back and has been an immediate game changer. A pick 6 this game, but 2 sacks, I believe, in the last game as well. So he has been incredible, and it doesn't need to be said. Him coming back has been probably the best thing to happen to this defense because it has contributed amazingly. I want to shout out to Wesley Basaint and Mohamed Toure, the 2 linebackers. Just good performances, man. In coverage, both in coverage and in terms of stopping the run. The Ohio State Buckeyes only had 43 yards rushing. Or 45 yards rushing, I'm sorry. Yeah, 45. Incredible performance. Incredible performance from this entire defense. And I'll be blunt. A lot of people are surprised by this result. A lot of people are shocked that Ohio State, the number 2 ranked team in the country, fell. And they didn't just fall lightly. I mean, Jeremiah Smith, the man who should be a Cane, by the way, 7 catches, 157 yards, a touchdown. I mean, there was a lot of talk about Jeremiah Smith, right? And how he would have chose Miami if Miami kept winning. And a lot of people have said, oh, he ran from the grind. I want to take this second to defend Jeremiah Smith for a second, all right? And I know this episode is going to be all about the Canes, I promise you. But the talk around Jeremiah Smith was that he ran from the grind. And you know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. He did run from the grind. Maybe he could have built something in Miami. But I'm going to ask you this. Let me ask you this. Based on Miami's track record of wide receivers that go to the NFL, does it even touch what Ohio State's been doing the last 5 years in terms of wide receiver production in the NFL? Guys, there's a lot of great wide receivers that go to Ohio State University. And I guarantee you, it wasn't just about the money when it came to Jeremiah Smith. I understand $3 million sounds like a lot of money. Apparently, Ohio State outbid Miami. And you know what? Maybe they did. And maybe that's why he went to Ohio State. But when you take that $3 million and add on top of that the winning ways of Ohio State as of recently, he ended up winning a national championship, by the way. The winning ways of Ohio State. On top of that, your draft status as a wide receiver that goes to Ohio State. The production that Ohio State has brought to the NFL, I can't stress it enough. The leading receiver right now, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Ohio State. A lot of wide receiver ones in the NFL are from Ohio State, man. So, look, I know a lot of people, I don't want to continue to glaze Jeremiah Smith, but, I'm not mad at him going to Ohio State. I'm not mad at it. I'm really not. Now, we had to give BTA to him. We had to give BTA to this team, but I mean, what can you really say? He had no part in why the Canes dominated this game. I mean, when your team only rushes for 45 yards and Julian Sayin turns the ball over, 2 interceptions. By the way, the fact that Julian Sayin won the Sean Alexander Award over Malachi Toney makes me sick. Malachi Toney's been one of the best players in the country. Probably should be one of the All-Americans. He's the best freshman in the country, hands down. And they gave it to Sean Alexander for what? For what? I think it's ridiculous. I think Malachi Toney should have hands down won the Sean Alexander Award. It was so dumb. Malachi Toney didn't exactly play too well in this game. And this game wasn't without its flaws offensively. I mean, Miami had a turnover in the red zone. Mark Fletcher fumbled. But one thing I will say that really changed things was the fact that Miami did not turn the ball over, one. Well, Miami did not turn the ball over in crucial moments, I should say. We did turn the ball over once. But Carson Beck didn't turn the ball over. And we didn't commit any penalties. Now, granted, this could be because the officiating crew just didn't want to blow the whistle. But there were no penalties called on the Miami Hurricanes this game. Miami, Miami in history has not been kind to Miami. Okay, Miami is 103rd in the country in penalties per game, and I believe they're 87th in penalty yards. Okay, so penalties have hurt the Canes before. They've hurt the Canes before. They've hurt them in dramatic fashion, and in the biggest game of the season against Ohio State, the defending champs, Miami found a way to not commit a single penalty. I could talk about how there could have been plenty of penalties on Ohio State, multiple pass interference calls, multiple holding calls. Like they could not guard Mesidor or Ruben Bain. Like I am so tired of people thinking that just because Ruben Bain only had one sack in this game that he wasn't the best player on the field defensively. He absolutely was. And this is no slouch to Key Mesidor. He's damn good as well. But Ruben Bain provides so much pressure. It makes Akeem Mesidor's life, I would imagine, a lot easier. No disrespect to Akeem Mesidor. He's still one of the best pass rushers in the country as well. What a blessing it is to have the two best pass rushers on the same exact team. But Ruben Bain is hands down the best defensive player in the country. He is. He is. I mean, everybody's calling it an upset. The Miami Hurricanes upset the Ohio State Buckeyes. Did you know that Miami opened up against this team as a 9.5 underdog? A 9.5 point underdog. 10-point underdog. I don't know how that line opened up like that to this moment. And I understand I have the benefit of hindsight right now from the results of the game. But seriously, Miami dominated, has been hands down the best line of scrimmage team in the country. They have been. This is not hyperbole. They have been the best line of scrimmage team. You mean to sit here and tell me that you saw what happened? You saw what happened against Indiana. Indiana, by the way, is a great pass rushing team. They don't touch the Canes in terms of pass rush, though. They don't. Not even close. If Indiana got to them, Indiana got to Ohio State, you don't think Ruben Bain and Akeem Mesidor and Keontae Scott and Ahmad Moten and Marquise Lightman, you don't think they could get to him? You don't think so? Be serious, man. Be serious. This was not the biggest upset. The line was just ridiculous. Okay? This game was very much evenly matched. But the Miami Hurricanes just punched Ohio State in the face. And they did it violently. They did it the way Mario Cristobal loves to do it. And I'm going to talk about Mario Cristobal in a second. But the way the Miami Hurricanes won this game is the way they've won a majority of their big games, their ranked opponents. Like against Notre Dame, the very first game of the season, the line of scrimmage was won by Miami. The same thing can be said about every single ranked win against Ohio State, against Florida State, against Pittsburgh, against Texas A&M. There isn't a single team in the country that has a better line of scrimmage than the Miami Hurricanes. And because of that, why can't they go all the way? Seriously, why can't they win the national championship at this point? Why can't they? I don't see a reason why not. I don't see a reason why not at all. This defensive line and this offensive line, and if they don't turn the ball over, if Carson Beck plays a clean game and they're getting chunk yardage, your receivers don't have to be game breakers. CJ Daniels was our leading receiver. He had 5 catches for 49 yards. Not a lot, but guess what? They were big catches. And shout out to him. He was really good in this game. I can't lie. He was clutch. He got the first down that essentially iced the game. Incredible. It was incredible. Why? And these guys block too. CJ Daniels, Marion, Malachi, they block. Now, I mean, we all talk about this offensive line. It helps when your receivers block as well as the Miami Hurricanes receivers do. And even though Ohio State might have the better, I guess you could say, wide receiver skill group because they have Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate. Well, Carnell Tate didn't really play too well. 3 catches, 37 yards. So we put him in a box. The only player that really came to play in this game was Jeremiah Smith offensively. And, that's something you expect from one of the best players in the country. This is not an upset. This is not the big upset that everybody thinks it is. It's not. That's the bottom line. Everybody underestimated the Miami Hurricanes for reasons that I guess are justifiable. Putting up 10 points against Texas A&M. Not the prettiest win. Losing 2 games against SMU Louisville. Everybody keeps bringing that up now. I would hope that after seeing this game, we can shut up about that. We can now shut up. I would hope so. But, you never know. I'm probably gonna see Georgia fans in my timeline talk about how we lost to SMU and Louisville. Guys, we beat the defending champs. We beat Texas A&M at Kyle Field. Every single ranked opponent we faced, we've beaten. So maybe stop worrying about the teams we lost against and focus on the teams that we've actually beat. Just a thought, because I saw Ohio State fans talking all the time about how we lost to these teams. Yeah, well, we've beaten some ranked teams too, okay? It's not all about who you lose to. And plus, Ohio State saying that is the most ironic thing ever. Like, as if last year didn't happen. Michigan didn't have a quarterback. Didn't have a passing game. And they still lost last year. But guess what? They won the championship. I bet nobody really remembers that loss anymore. Insane. Just an insane game. And I want to give credit to Mario Cristobal. Mario Cristobal, man. Where do I begin? When he came to this program was mediocre, to say the least. One of the most mediocre programs in the entire country. 20 plus years of mediocrity. Mario came in and he realized the task at hand. And it wasn't going to take a year or 2 years like maybe Kurt Signetti did in Indiana. But guess what? It was going to take some time. It was going to take some weeding out and bringing Mario's guys in. And guess what? Mario Cristobal brought his guys in, and now we're all the way in the college football semifinal. 2 playoff wins. A 12-win season. A dream season. A dream season that I don't think Canes fans this year thought would happen. I mean, remember the talk when we lost to SMU, including myself? I made an entire video on it. Do I regret the video? No. I don't regret the video. Want to know why? Because that was the truth. It was the truth at the time. But I never called for Mario Cristobal to be fired. I simply called for him to be better. And he got better. And And after that SMU game, I mean, there wasn't a single game where we took our foot off the gas. We looked like one of the best teams in the country after that SMU loss. And maybe that SMU loss was exactly what we needed. Maybe the punch in the mouth against Louisville at home is exactly what we needed. Sometimes you got to get punched in the face. You got to take some blood before you start to thrive. In life and in football and in boxing and whatever. You guys know what I'm talking about. Mario Cristobal. I don't even, there are no words to describe what he's done with this program. Progression every single year. Going 5-7 his first year, a loss against Middle Tennessee. His second year, going, I believe, 7-6. 7-6 after being ranked high. Losses to Georgia Tech, an ugly loss to Georgia Tech. Ugly loss. I still remember that game. You guys remember that? You guys remember the game against... Excuse me, there's something in my eye. Hello. Sorry. You guys remember that game against Georgia Tech in 2023? That's not that far off from what happened. What happened this year? That's not that far off with the clock management. The loss against Georgia Tech 2 years ago. Incredible. It was an incredible loss. A loss that I never thought would ever happen. Just kneel the ball and you win the game. Guess what? He didn't. and we had a rough year that year. But then the next year, Cam Ward comes in, gives us one of the greatest the greatest QB season ever. You want to know who brought him in? It was Mario Cristobal. Mario Cristobal did. And Mario Cristobal changed the trajectory of Cam Ward's life. He changed the trajectory of the Hurricanes. And now the year after. Losses to SMU and Louisville. I'm going to keep mentioning them because these are losses that built us up. They built us up. They did. They did. They built us up. And guess what? Now we're about to get into the Fiesta Bowl, and we're about to face Ole Miss and Georgia. And I bet you now that the country understands the task at hand when it comes to facing this pass rush. And guess what? Mario Cristobal built it. Everything that is good about this team, Mario Cristobal built. He emphasized the importance of the line of scrimmage throughout his tenure here in the U. And guess what? We now have the best two lines of scrimmages in football. That is huge for us. That is huge for the Canes. And guess what? If you think we're going anywhere, if you think Mario Cristobal is going to just stop at Ruben Bain, I promise you have another thing coming. Jackson Cantwell, the number one player in the country, the number one O-lineman in the country, committed to the U because he sees what's going on. CC Maui Noah is going to be a first-round pick this year. And it feels like it's been so long since the Hurricanes have had truly obvious first-round picks. Obvious. Now, obviously, Jalen Phillips is a stud. Obviously, you had guys like Philip Dorsett and Eric Flowers go first round. But man, what you're seeing right now from Ruben Bain, what you're seeing right now from Mesidor, from Maui Noah, from these studs that, by the way, Mario brought in. I'm going to keep on saying his name because Mario is the entire reason this is happening right now. The guys that Mario brought in and come in and change the trajectory of this program. Mario Cristobal deserves all the credit in the world. A 12-win season. First, I mean, if you would have told me that we would win 12 games this year, beat the Buckeyes, beat Texas A&M and Caulfield, beat Notre Dame, beat FSU, beat Florida, we're more than just state champs now. We're going for the entire thing. And I can't tell you how happy I am for Mario Cristobal, all the hate that he received, all the criticism, including from myself. I'm not immune to it. Like I criticize Mario, but guess what? He righted the ship. And now we're in the college football semifinal. The winner of Ole Miss and Georgia will face off against Miami next week, January 8th, in the Fiesta Bowl. And Mario led us all this way. I have no doubt that he can lead us all the way to the promised land. So, the Canes, man. We got some Canes over here. Incredible. So, obviously, more than just the Hurricanes happened. We spent the last 23 minutes talking about the Hurricanes. Let's talk about something on the meh side. Because this team has been meh for all of January, but we are back to our winning ways. Miami has won 3 straight games, the Miami Heat have, after their huge slump. The Miami Heat have won 3 straight games, and in these 3 games, they've averaged 138 points a game. So the offense that we loved in the first quarter of the season, looks like it is back. Granted, it's against defenses that aren't crazy good. Atlanta, Indiana, and Denver. Not necessarily some back-breaking defenses here, but tonight we get our first real test. Tonight we get, our first test in this potential win streak against Detroit on the road. I want to talk about a couple players that have been really showing out. Pelle Larsson. He might be out tonight with an ankle injury because of what happened against Denver. Pelle Larsson might be the heart and soul of this team, man. I understand maybe it's Bam Adebayo, but Pelle Larsson, the Swedish swish, he's been incredible this year. And I'm gonna say it because maybe nobody else will. I think he should start for the rest of the year. There's another player that should start for the rest of the year. We're gonna get him to in a second. But I think Pelle Larsson should start. What are we doing here? I understand maybe his hot shooting will cool down eventually, but consider this. I mean, when he's healthy, look at the last 3 games. Incredible stuff. Defensively, he brings an edge. He's a very tough defender. Draws charges all the time. Love it. He needs to be considered in the starting lineup. I'm sorry. When he's coming off the bench, it just doesn't provide the spark than when he's starting. And I don't know who needs to move to the bench. I don't know if it's Mitchell. I don't know if it's Hero, potentially. I don't think it's Norman Powell because he's going to be an all-star this year. Maybe Wiggins. Maybe we keep Wiggins off the bench. I don't think so either. One of the 3 cards is going to have to take a backseat if Pelle Larsson continues to play this well. I understand trying to make Hero and Powell work is important, but Hero's just not available. Like, Hero has missed a lot of time this year. A lot more time than I thought he would miss. I actually can't believe it. Like, we came into this year excited for this year. Norman Powell signing got us excited. And he got that ankle surgery. And now he has that toe injury. Granted, the toe injury was a complete freak accident. But, I mean, since then, he hasn't really played a lot of games. He hasn't been available. Let's call it what it is. He has not been available. Speaking of availability, Nikola Jovic. He had a bit of an elbow laceration. It looked a lot worse. I thought it was his back, but just had a bit of a sting on his elbow. He missed a couple games. He's come back, and he's played well. Jovic has played well. These are the flashes that I keep talking about, that everybody keeps talking about with Nikola Jovic. The problem is they're not consistent. And that's really why I'm not sold on Jovic anymore. Because he's hurt, and he's inconsistent. And I hate that. I hate that for my players. I don't like that at all. He's hurt and he's inconsistent, but when he's in control, when he's healthy, and he's in control and he's not turning the ball over, and he's scoring, this kid is really good, man. He's really good. Now, reminder, he's 22. He's got room to grow, but I mean, he's still got room to grow. But the reason my patience is waning so thin with Nikola Jovic is that we paid him already. We paid him. So the time to step up is now. Now is the time to step up. We gave you 3 years of leeway, 3 years of being hurt, 3 years of growing. But year 4, you have to step up. So he needs to stay healthy. He really needs to stay healthy. And needs to continue to play. And if he continues to play and he plays well, I'll start to fully buy in. But right now, I'm not. I'm not bought in. But he played very well last night. He had 22. I'm excited. I'm hoping that this is a trend up in the right direction. A lot of people are saying, oh, maybe we should trade him along with a couple of other players for a package for Giannis. I don't know. I'll think about it. I've already voiced that maybe we do need to make a trade for Giannis at this point. We'll see. We will see. Norman Powell continues to add a scoring punch. I mean, he's an all-star this year. I don't think anybody really denies it. Last 3 games, he's at over 20. Like, it's amazing how we made this signing, and the thought process was, okay, well, how is he going to pair with Hero? Well, Hero's not playing. So Powell is just going to be our best scorer now. He's fit in. He's having a career year. Perfect stuff. And I absolutely love the fact that Norman Powell can thrive this well in this system. He is a bit of a ball stopper, but he's played well the last 3 games. He's played well. This month of January, we have a bit of an interesting schedule. facing Detroit to start tonight at 7 o'clock. I might be tuning into the college football playoff because to see the result for Ole Miss in Georgia, but, some Heat basketball if you guys want to tune into that. Then we face Minnesota. This schedule in January is just interesting. A lot of up and down games. Like you face some high level competition like Minnesota, and then the next night you're gonna go on and face New Orleans, which is interesting to say the least. On top of that, we're gonna be on national television next week. I just realized Tuesday, January 6th. I don't know if I'll be able to watch the game. I'll probably be at work, but NBC, Miami against Minnesota. That's exciting. But then you go from that to facing Chicago and Indiana, and then you go up and play a team like Oklahoma City. So we also go on a West Coast road trip this year. So this month, rather. To go to Golden State, visit Jimmy Butler for a little bit. In that West Coast road trip, we should have a couple of gimme games, but this team never makes it easy for me. We face Boston this month again. I don't like losing to Boston, so let's hope we don't lose that game, especially at home. I don't know why I haven't talked about him yet, but Kel'el Ware, walking double-double, don't bench him again. Like, don't even think about not starting him. Keep Bam where he's at, playing the 4. If he's not going to add a scoring punch, if he is who he is, fine. Have Ware be the scoring punch as a big. Have Ware be the guy. If it's not going to be Bam, it's got to be Ware. We need some scoring from our big guys. And, I've always liked how Spo rotates. Like, okay, Ware, you're going to play some minutes without Bam. Bam, you're going to play some minutes without Ware. I've always loved that. To end the game, I need Bam and Ware on the court. I need them on the court. I don't care. Don't care. I think the size advantage and defensively, the stuff that can happen for the Miami Heat if Ware and Bam are on the court, magic, man. Magic. He needs to start full-time. He needs to close the games. All the above. He needs to. I really don't want to see Ware come off the bench again. I will be pissed. I won't call for Spo's job, obviously, although I'll consider it. If he does this again, I'll consider it for sure. But no. He needs to start for the rest of the year, and I don't think it's a question. So, Miami plays Detroit tonight at 7. By the time you watch this video, the game will probably be done. Hopefully we win. But let's hope for a win tonight. All right, our final topic. Unfortunately, we have to talk about them because they're pretty big. And they're always a topic of conversation as you see me flip aggressively. The Miami Dolphins. Oh, boy. We won this past Sunday, which is cool, I guess. Which is all right, I guess. I'm not excited for our wins right now. We're gonna end the year on a high note, end the home stretch with a win. We finished the year 5-4 at home. Cool. Nice. Awesome. Quinn Ewers, 172 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Not a bad game. Not a bad game at all. I think the story of this game is also the rushing attack. 145 yards, 4.8 yards a carry. Shout out to Devon Achane. Shout out to Jalen Wright. Mike McDaniel, man. Keep running that football. Wow. We got some good production from Greg Dulcich. I want to talk about Greg Dulcich for a second before I get into all the Tankathon and Quinn Ewers. Just a quick nugget about Greg Dulcich. We brought him in the middle of the season, and he's been good for us. In this game, he had 5 catches, 58 yards, a touchdown. He's been a really good blocker as well. I think Greg Dulcich is a guy we should keep in the building for the most part. And if we're not going to draft a tight end, fine. Don't. Let's keep Greg Dulcich around. Let's please not re-sign Darren Waller. I don't want Darren Waller on my team anymore. I really don't. Nothing against Darren Waller. He's had some pretty nice moments with the Dolphins. I still remember that game against the Jets where he had 2 touchdowns in his return. But yeah, if we're gonna move forward, I think it starts off. It starts to me. It starts to me with getting rid of Waller, re-signing Greg Dulcich. Should be interesting what the Miami Heat. Sorry, should be interesting what the Miami Dolphins do in the offseason. But Quinn Ewers, I mean, not a bad game. 14 of 22, 172 yards, 2 touchdowns, a 118 passer rating. And the offensive line didn't do bad for him. Only 2 sacks in this game allowed. Some incredible stuff. Quinn Ewers, I think, is the guy that we have to keep for 2026. I think he's the starter heading into 2026. See what you have. And if you don't have anything, we can move on. I think next year's QB class is going to be pretty good, relatively good for the most part. But straight up, it's not necessarily about if Quinn Ewers is good enough. It's simply about just moving on from Tua permanently. I don't think Tua is going to start next year. I don't, and I think Tua might be off the team by next year. He'll be signed somewhere else. I think Quinn Ewers is the guy. For next year. I don't know if he's the guy permanently. But I say give him a shot. This win against Tampa Bay isn't that impressive. Tampa Bay's been struggling as of late. Tampa Bay's defense has been bad. The offense, Baker Mayfield in particular, keeps turning the ball over. He's had a rough fall from grace this year, but I'm sure Baker Mayfield will turn it around. He needs to for this week. Playoff implications, right? But yeah, the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins are in a bit of a rough spot because in terms of their draft status, because right now they are sitting at 11th. I really want to get into that top 10. I feel like this year is a great year for defense in particular, and being a top 10 pick in that is pretty important. Now, offensively, I don't understand. A lot of people are going to say, get more O-line. I don't think the O-line's been the problem this year. It really hasn't been that big of a problem this year. Not too big of a problem. It's been a problem, but not too big. Not as big as years past. Right now we're at 11th, behind Cincy, behind Kansas City. So if Cincy wins this week, I'm going to go ahead and check right now who these teams play. I'm pretty sure Kansas City has a pretty light game against maybe the Jets. I think it's against the Jets. I could be wrong, though. So the Bengals play against the Browns. So hopefully the Bengals take care of business and beat the Browns. And then also, Kansas City faces off against the Raiders, one of the worst teams in the NFL. I really hope Kansas City gets the win there. And that would put us in the top 10. That would put us at 9, I believe. That would, I believe, put us at 9. Which would be a great spot. And hopefully we draft well there. It's an interesting spot the Miami Dolphins are in, heading into the last week of the season. Because, this year ended off as every other year has. Just mediocre. I wonder what it's going to take for this team to finally take the next step. I wonder. It feels like so long ago in 2023 when we were one of the best offenses in the league. And the team actually felt like they were different. Only for the injuries to come piling in and then Tua reverting back to his turnover ways. So, feels like a long time since that year, 2023. It's one of the best years in Miami sports history, even though we didn't win a championship that year. Like, no sports team won a championship, but it still felt like an incredible time to be a Miami sports fan. Panthers made the Stanley Cup final. Miami Heat made the finals. Dolphins were good. I think even the Marlins had a really special year that year, too. Could be wrong, though. But, yeah, I really hope that the Miami Dolphins can get back to whatever they were back in 2023 with this time, them winning, obviously. But 7-10 or 8-9. We do play New England in the season finale, so Patriots are trying to capture the 1 seed. Would love to spoil them, but Patriots look really good this year. What do you know? New England Patriots winning the division. I mean, I can't believe that. Tom Brady left a while ago, like in 2020, I believe. 6 years later, Dolphins had a 6-year head start. And somehow, some way, we didn't win a single playoff game. We didn't win the division. Instead, the Patriots and the Bills have both won the division. Ah, man. I get pissed off thinking about that. I get pissed off. When are things going to change, Stephen Ross? When are things going to change? I don't want to be looking at Tankathon every single year thinking, okay, if this team loses, we can get a higher draft pick. And it not even being top 5. I don't want to continue to be like this. I don't want to. Hopefully, things change. Hopefully, the Dolphins get their stuff together. But, I mean, I've been alive for so long, and the Dolphins have never been elite. So, maybe it's wishful thinking. I don't know, man. That's going to do it. I mean, obviously, the topic of conversation is going to revolve around the Hurricanes for the most part this week and in their quest to win a national championship. Comment down below what you think about the Hurricanes and their turnaround. What the Miami Heat need to do to get fully back on track. Win streak helps. And, I mean, all I can ask you to do is pray for the Dolphins. Jeez, man. They're just, for as long as I've been alive, just never been consistently good. But that's going to do it for the Dallas Sports Pod. Episode 3 is in the books. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. This has been Sammy HT. God bless you all. And I'll see you guys next time. Dale.